You're watching the ACC on ESPN, and the curtain continues to rise in conference play. We have number 18, North Carolina State, opening ACC play on the road, taking on the Miami Hurricanes. From inside the Watsco Center in Coral Gables, Florida, alongside Debbie Antonelli, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Deb, the 12-1 Wolfpack off to their best start in more than a dozen years. Head coach Kevin Keatts has this team ahead of schedule.
Look, Rich, this team can play. They get up and down. They're 10 deep. They all can score. Kevin Keatts' defense makes you make decisions for 94 feet on the defensive end, and they're third in the nation in field goal percentage on the offensive end at 53%. This is a balanced team. They're really fun to watch. And for Miami, Jim Larrañaga has a team that is only 7 deep. However, his top 5 are really good. They all average above 12 points. They were picked to finish towards the bottom part of the ACC. Tonight, they're going to rely on their shot-making ability to try to control the tempo of this game, because they're going to need that extra second, forcing NC State to have to take it out of the net.
Coach Larrañaga has been playing shorthanded all season long. As a matter of fact, earlier today, the NCAA denied DeJuan Hernandez's appeal for eligibility. That, according to Hernandez's attorney, Jason Setchin. UM had been withholding Hernandez from games pending an eligibility review. We will have more on this story as we get into this contest. But for now, your officials tonight are Ted Valentine, Doug Shows, and Brent Hampton, the ACC opener for both the Miami Hurricanes at home against the NC State Wolfpack, coming in ranked 18th in the country. And here is who Jim Larrañaga will be putting out there in their first 5, and these first 5 will play major minutes because, as you mentioned, Deb, they only go 7 deep tonight.
Chris Likes, their point guard, listed at 5'7", is going to have to be able to take care of the basketball against the changing defense of NC State.
And the Wolfpack go 10 deep. 7 of the Wolfpack players averaging 8 or more points a game. And the smallest player on the floor, 0 and white, Chris Likes, controls the opening tip. A little give and go with the big man Azundu. It's off the mark, and a fresh 30 again for the Canes.
Miami likes to run a lot of their sets right through the middle of the floor, or what I call the shoot area, where you can't help on that high-low or that pick-and-roll game.
DJ Vasiljevic off the mark, but Ibuka Azundu with the first points of the game. He's tops in the conference in field goal percentage, and you see why. Now it's NC State's turn on offense for the first time. What do they like to do?
Both teams will play some man-to-man defense, and Miami will play some zone, but NC State does a very good job on the offensive end, Rich, of reversing the basketball and doing all the details well. Their basketball habits through this schedule have been very, very good for NC State.
If you've never seen the Wolfpack play, this is what they do. Full court, up and down, offense and defense. They like to push tempo.
It's all about energy and effort for Kevin Keatts, and that's what he expects at the beginning of the game. And if you don't bring it, you're sitting down next to him, and he'll bring somebody else in, because that 10 deep could come into play.
The left-hander Azundu has the first 4 points of the game. He's the only member of this Canes team averaging better than 47% from the field. He's got 4 double-doubles already this year.
If he catches it with 2 feet in the paint, that's his game. He is not a pick-and-pop guy. He's a roll-to-the-rim guy, and he's a very good defender as well.
And Torin Dorn, the first 2 of the game, he's the leading scorer for NC State.
And knowing that Azundu has that kind of length, watch for NC State to try to attack him on the defensive end, because he is prone to foul trouble. And when you only have 7, if you can get somebody in foul trouble, that could be a big key. Yeah,
Jim Larrañaga has taken to forcing push-ups from Azundu every time he fouls in practice. Chris Likes with the triple, first 3 of the game. His scoring has been up this year by 7 points compared to his freshman campaign.
And see, Braxton Beverly's got to do a better job defending that high ball screen, that drag that Jim Larrañaga's team likes to run.
That one blocked out of bounds by Anthony Lawrence, number 3 in white, the senior out of St. Pete, Florida. Well, this Miami team has struggled to score, but they do defend the basket very well, only averaging 67 points allowed so far this year. Here's Dorn, 2 in black. One of 7 transfers on this NC State roster. And the follow tip is good from C.J. Bryce.
Torin Doran leads the team in scoring and rebounding. He's very good at attacking the gaps. He forces that switch, and that allows NC State to get to the glass. And when they can score, this is the decision-making that Miami's going to have to deal with for 40 minutes.
DJ Vasiljevic, who's a three-point specialist, takes it to the hole that time, and he'll go to the line and shoot two.
Vasiljevic has made 35 threes and 11 twos on the season. It's very telling about his scouting report. He doesn't get to the line very often.
A 96% free throw shooter when he does get there, 23 of 24 on the season so far.
And see, that's a good play by Vasiljevic, though, because NC State likes the basketball. They want someone else on Miami's team to be forced to handle up the court. If you can take the ball out of Likes' hands, and right now the ball is going to be out of his hands because he's going to the bench.
Well, Jim Larrañaga told us earlier today at shoot-around he wants to play his team in spurts of about 3 minutes. So 7:22 on the clock, Likes takes a rest, and in comes Zach Johnson, and immediately Devin Daniels on the other end knocks down a three.
Both these teams are really good three-point shooting teams, and you have to worry about backside threes against pressure when Miami brings pressure off the made free throws.
Here's Johnson, the transfer from Florida Gulf Coast, misses his first shot. And it's picked up by Vasiljevic. Lawrence tries a triple and matches his number. Amp Lawrence with another three, the second three of the night for a Miami team that averages just under 9 threes made per game.
Yeah, look how quickly off the turnover Miami comes back and strikes before NC State can get organized.
And there's another bucket. Both offenses clicking early on. The look ahead to Wardenberg, and it's knocked out of his hands. No foul call.
What a play by Torin Doran.
And there's another bucket by NC State. C.J. Bryce back-to-back. 6 early points for C.J. Bryce, but it's NC State coming in trailing by 1, the 18th ranked team in the country, looking for their best start with a win tonight, going all the way back to the championship team of 1974.
You watch right here. What a terrific hustle play there. That might have been a foul. NC State gets a break, and they come down the other end, and C.J. Bryce sticks the jumper from 15.
Well, we talked to the coaches before the game, but we also talked to the officials, and we asked Doug Schaus, who is a veteran official, what does it mean when you're refereeing in conference play versus non-conference? He said, it's no secret to us. Everything's ratcheted up just a little bit.
Everything rises just one more level. The detail is what matters. That's why in the non-conference you try to create the best habits you can create.
Here comes Bryce. DJ Funderburg.
Really unselfish by Markel Johnson. Markel coming off a game where he did not score.
Another home run pass, and Likes, who's back in the game, saves it. Anthony Mack, who's checked in, gets the left-hander off the window. A good start for the Hurricanes, up by 1 on NC State.
That's twice they've been able to throw over the top.
And an offensive foul called on NC State. It'll be Miami ball when we come back. More on the Juwan Hernandez story when we return. Miami leads NC State in the ACC opener for both 14-13 inside the Wasco Center on the campus of University of Miami alongside Debbie Antonelli. I'm Rich Hollenberg. At the top of this telecast, Deb, we told everybody breaking news a couple of hours before tip. The NCAA made it official that UM's Juwan Hernandez has been ruled ineligible by the season. That, according to Hernandez's attorney, Jason Setchin. UM had been withholding him from games pending an eligibility review after he was named in court documents in the federal corruption case related to college basketball. So he hasn't played a single minute this season. He was the returning leading scorer and rebounder for Jim Larrañaga's club. So where does that leave Jim Larrañaga and this Miami basketball team moving forward?
Well, they were heavy in the 5 position to start the season, and they've gotten down to 7 players that are eligible to play. That is a very short rotation for Miami, and certainly they'll miss his size and his rebounding ability on the interior. But fans will remember him as Juwan Huell from last year. He changed his name to Hernandez. That's about 12 and 9 a game.
Now it's really falling on the shoulders of number 15 in white, Ibuka Zundu. who's been doing yeoman-like work so far this season, averaging over 12, 9 boards, and 2+ blocks a game. He's one of only 8 Division I players with those kind of numbers. Freshman Jericho Helms almost lost it. Helms gets it back in the corner and knocks down a triple.
Helms shoots that knuckleball, but he's a player for Kevin Keats that has really played well off the bench. High school teammates with Jason Tatum, playing with the Celtics, formerly of the Blue Devils.
That three giving the Wolfpack their first lead of the game, 14:25 to go. Here's Lawrence.
When Likes gets that deep in penetration, he's usually looking to pass.
Zundu misses the follow tip, and it's NC State basketball. Here comes Markel Johnson, 7th in the ACC in assists per game so far. Here's Helms. Not that time. Tap back, block it. No call. Bodies flying everywhere. Welcome to conference play. Here's Likes, and he could be a blur in the open court. No call again.
And that was 3 on 5, and Miami doesn't hold it up. And you would think that would have been a tempo possession for them where they might have waited.
Johnson for 3, no. Lawrence the rebound for Miami.
Yeah, Miami not afraid to run. They are looking to push.
Lawrence knocks down a triple. That's Amp Lawrence's second 3 of the night.
Remember, we talked about energy and effort. NC State doesn't look like they have it right now. Miami playing really well and being able to do what they want to do offensively.
There's another turnover. Johnson at the other end, the bump and the bucket for the Canes.
Off the turnover, Markel Johnson, nowhere to go, turns the basketball over. Look at Zach Johnson. You can't knock him off his line. He does a great job of finishing that play with his eyes on the basket.
That's a Johnson on Johnson crime right there as Markel gets stripped and Zach Johnson finishes and has a chance at a 3-point play, surpassing the 1,500-point career plateau in his last game with the Canes. Here's Wyatt Walker, 33 in black. No good. And a foul is called as NC State doing a good job on the offensive boards. They're one of the best in the country in rebounding margin.
Plus 10 on the glass, and one of the things NC State does really well is run the lanes hard, and Wyatt Walker understands his role. He's a guy that rim runs in transition. He rolls hard to the rim in their 2-man game, and then watch the ability that he has on the glass to keep the ball alive.
And as you can see, Wyatt Walker has some sharp elbows, as well as a pretty good shooting touch. Anthony Mack taking it right in the kisser. Walker, a graduate student, played his college ball at Samford, where he averaged nearly a double-double, but came here and said, I just want to be part of a winner. I want to go to the NCAA tournament.
And he's adjusting to the pace. I mean, this is a much faster tempo than he played at Samford, especially in the scheming and the way NC State and Kevin Keats wants to play defense.
Good feed from Likes. Mack can't pay it off. Chance for NC State to get back on top. Markel Johnson probing and almost turned it over. Here's Lockett for 3. And another offensive board from the Wolfpack. Johnson calls his own number and knocks down a triple. First points of the night for the 6'1 junior out of Cleveland.
Teams that take a lot of threes get a lot of long rebounds.
Markel Johnson really stepping up offensively this year. Last year he had 27 triples. That was already his 25th this year.
He's going to pick up a foul right there on the double team. But yes, he has improved his offensive game. He had 27 against Auburn. I'm not sure NC State wins that game without that great second half that Markel Johnson had against Bruce Pearl's team. However, then the next 2 games he plays 11 minutes and 14 minutes. Okay, there's a consistency factor there that Kevin Keats is looking for.
Yeah, we were talking to Coach Keats earlier today. He said, he admits, I'm harder on my point guards than I am on any other position on the floor, but it's partly because I know how good Markel Johnson can be. He's shown it in spurts. Here's Vasiljevic for three. And one and done for the Canes. Catch and fire, Beverly, no. Likes, dials up a triple and knocks it down. They count it as a two. It's a two-pointer for Chris Likes, who has 5.
Coming off a 21-point performance against Campbell, he is very quick, very tough to keep in front.
Talk about high praise. Coach Larinaga said if he was 6'5" or 6'6", he'd be Michael Jordan.
Yeah. Well, he's listed at 5'7", but I don't think so. And when we talked to Chris Likes today at shoot-around, one of the things we said is, you know, how many people told you couldn't play? He said, they never said it to me. I know they said it. My size was going to be a factor, but I have just worked harder to make myself a Division I player. And he is inspiring because of it.
Well, he's got his Canes in it against the 18th-ranked NC State Wolfpack. Close one from Miami.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by USAA. Insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. And Papa John's new Papa Rewards program. Earn points 5 times faster.
Well, the man in the middle has returned home after 17 days away as the Temple head football coach. Manny Diaz, the former defensive coordinator for the Hurricanes, is now the new head coach for the U. He coached at NC State, ironically enough, back in 2000 to 2005, but for Canes fans, he's most notably the defensive coordinator from 2016 to 2018, took the Temple head job, but then when Mark Richt suddenly retired, that job came open and Manny Diaz came home.
He was here for the women's game earlier today when Miami beat Virginia Tech. The good news from Miami fans is their linebackers have decided they'll come back for their senior year. Shaq Quarterman and Michael Pickney.
And a good Miami football program is good for all of college football,
it's
right?
Good for the ACC, for sure.
There's Manny. Of course, he gets courtside seats. That's what happens when you're the head football coach. Some very prestigious lineage in Manny Diaz's DNA. His father, Manny, was a former mayor of the city of Miami. You just don't turn down an opportunity, even if it does come on the heels of you getting a head coaching job elsewhere. That foul's going to go on Amp Lawrence. NC State coming in ranked 18th in the country. One of just 18 teams right now, Deb, who have 1 loss or are undefeated. Only 4 undefeated teams in basketball right now. But not too many have just 1 loss. NC State, a very good start to this season in the non-conference at 12-1.
Well, Miami has only turned the basketball over 1 time so far in the first half, and that's a big part of NC State's DNA, is turning you over and getting easy buckets.
And you have a very colorful way of illustrating that. We'll get to that in just a moment. Zach Johnson slicing through the NC State defense. His second bucket of the night. He has 4, and we're tied at 23. Nice take to the hole by Devin Daniels.
Nice job by Thunderbird to hold off the defense. And a couple of times Miami has thrown over the top of that first wave of pressure, but NC State has been able to retreat and set their D.
Here's a lob, again going over the top. This time it comes up empty. And the look ahead, Daniels got the throwdown and no foul called as well. Devin Daniels leading all scorers with 9.
NC State really doing a good job when they can set their D. A terrific play by Thunderbird underneath the basket. And then look at Torin Doran, throws it on a rope. I love watching Torin Doran play. I think he is, we know he's the leading scorer and rebounder for NC State, but I don't think he forces much. I think he lets the game come to him. He recognizes the balance that he has around him. Nobody from NC State was put on any preseason team in the ACC. And I think they realize that collectively they're better as a group than they are individually.
And Dorn, one of those players who tested the NBA waters. He graduated in May, so he's technically a redshirt senior. But he's got his degree from the Wolfpack after transferring after a freshman year at Charlotte. And if there is one player who Kevin Keatts thinks could wear the mantle of leader on this balanced team, it's Torin Dorn.
Well, he's one of 3 guys on the team taking master level classes. They're working on their master's degree.
Here's Bryce, off the mark, Azundu the rebound. And Miami could tie or take the lead with a bucket. That one a little off the mark from Chris Likes. Well, we talked about Torin Dorn, the 6'5", 210-pound redshirt senior. Played his freshman campaign at Charlotte, where he was the freshman of the year in Conference USA. And of course, if the name sounds familiar to football fans, his father, Torin Dorn, played for 7 seasons with the Rams first, and then ended up his career with St. Louis as well. The Raiders were his first team.
Miami switches to a zone, and NC State gets to the corner. Braxton Beverly, he doesn't need much space to get his three-point shot off.
Here's Likes. Off the window, no good. Weak side rebound to Bryce. Beverly, deep 3 from the logo. Off the mark. And here comes Vasiljevic for Miami. Now Vasiljevic lost a sneaker. And he's holding it in his right hand right now.
Well, that's who you take to the basket.
Devin Daniels trying to do that.
Yes.
Daniels got to the hole, and he'll go to the line when we come back. NC State has its largest lead of the game. It's 5, 30-25. 7:22 to go in the first half of the ACC opener, with the NC State Wolfpack up 5 on the road against Miami. NC State, Deb, is number 1 in the conference in turnover margin. They're up by 5 right now, but the Canes are doing a good job of not turning it over against NC State.
So this is what we're looking at for NC State's defense against Miami on the offensive end. So here's NC State's basket. So we're putting these in turnover zones: red, neutral, and green. Miami turns the ball over in the red zone, they're dead. They're never going to recover. NC State's probably going to dunk it. In the neutral zone, they may be 50-50. Maybe they can get back. If they turn it over in the green zone, they definitely have time to recover. Miami has turned it over 3 times tonight, all in the green zone. And NC State has 7 points off those 3 Miami turnovers.
I don't think any coach would say there's a good turnover, but there are better turnovers than other, and I think Jim Larinaga can live with the ones in the green zone like you just illustrated.
Well, and think about the one that Chris Likes threw into the 5th row, right? That's a dead ball turnover, so that gives Miami a chance to set their defense. And we know Jim Larinaga thinks that's a very important part of his 10 commandments, if you will, is setting their defense.
That's actually number 1 of his 10 commitments. There's Azundu with his 3rd bucket of the game, 6 points for Ibuka Azundu. Now the ball stalling a little bit for the NC State offense. 10 on the shot clock. You don't see that too often from the Wolfpack. 5 to shoot. Here's Beverly. He takes it himself, and it's around and out. A fight for the ball under the basket, and Miami comes away with it. Miami coming in 8-4 on the season. They went through a stretch at the end of November, beginning of December, where they lost 4 straight games.
Wait a second, Rich. Do you think anybody in college basketball has a better whistle than Jim Larinaga? Could you hear him whistling at his team to call the offensive set?
Wasn't sure if that was an officials referee. Well, Monday on ESPN, we'll have the College Football Playoff National Championship game presented by AT&T from Santa Clara, California. It's the Tide and the Tigers, round 4. Number 1 Alabama taking on number 2 Clemson. That starts at 8 p.m. Eastern. 5 Pacific, also streaming live on ESPN app. And of course, this being the 4th time they've met, it brings to mind some great rivalries. A lot of the football players I was hearing talking on both sidelines saying it does kind of feel like a boxing match, like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier, and how many times they face each other. There is no unfamiliarity between Dabo Swinney's club and Nick Saban's club.
It's great history, terrific storylines. The two best teams have been the two best teams all season. It's going to be really fun to watch.
Of course, everybody watching this who's an ACC fan rooting for those Clemson Tigers. Their basketball team's not all too shabby either.
No, Brad Brownell has turned the corner with that. Going to the Sweet 16 last year, and the veteran players he has back this season, Clemson will be really tough in Littlejohn this year.
Of course, Brad and company have the unenviable task of opening ACC play on the road in Cameron Indoor Stadium, no less. Going up against the Duke Blue Devils. That'll be on Saturday night. Here at the Watsco Center alongside Debbie Antonelli, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Thrilled to be kicking off ACC play with the 18th ranked NC State Wolfpack up by 3 on the Miami Hurricanes, 5:51 to go. NC State coming in at 12-1, tying their best record to start a season since 13 years ago in 05-06. If they win tonight, Deb, you'll go all the way back to the 1974 NC State team that ended up winning the national championship that year.
You're talking about, as the officials will have a review of a hook and hold play. You're talking about David Thompson, Monty Tao. I think they're looking at a hook and hold foul. Watch underneath Funderburk. Yes, it's a hook and hold.
That should go on Wardenberg, should it not?
Yes. I think on the floor they called it on Wardenberg, so they're just going to check and see if they need to upgrade it in any way.
And that was,
I don't think they need to upgrade it. I think they got tangled up, and
that's a point of emphasis coming into the season was that exact play.
I'll tell you what, DJ Funderburk has done a terrific job since he's been inserted into the game. He's been able to block shots, he's rebounded, he's defended the rim. He's been a factor on the offensive glass.
So the officials still conferring. There's DJ Funderburk, who played a prep year after high school at Hargrave Military Academy, then went to Ohio State and transferred after a redshirt year. But Funderburk and Hargrave makes natural sense when you think of him coming to NC State because, of course, Kevin Keats, who's in his 2nd season in Raleigh, spent 10 years as the head coach at Hargrave Military Academy. Now, that was called a flagrant 1 on Sam Wardenberg, so the officials called the foul correctly, but then went to review it and realized that it was more than that, so it's going to be shots and the ball for NC State.
I think every time there's a hook and hold, they're going to elevate it to F1 now. I mean, I've seen so many of these calls this season in college basketball, and I realize they're trying to remove that play for safety reasons. So that's 2 shots for Funderburk, and NC State will get the basketball.
A potential big momentum swing for the NC State Wolfpack, who've been in a tight one right now. 31-28, a chance to extend that lead and maintain possession. Funderburk, a 77% free throw shooter, knocks down his first one of the evening. This Kevin Keats, always Natalie attire from head to toe. We'll have more on that coming up later as well. Coach Keats likes the shoe game. Let's just leave it at that. Jim Larinaga likes it too, though.
They do. I think it's pretty cool that Kevin Keats and his wife Georgette decided that their Christmas present to each other was a room in their house dedicated to his shoes and his suits.
Funderburk again knocks down the free throws and knocks down the triple.
That's only his 4th triple of the season. He's been terrific in the first half.
6 points for Funderburk, yeah. Here's Zach Johnson. Azundu underneath. Blocked by Funderburk, doing it at both ends of the floor. Bryce being hounded by Likes.
He is tough.
And they get the foul on the offensive end. CJ Bryce, a little too much dribbling against Chris Likes.
Yeah, pass the basketball. Chris Likes dribbles the basketball. When you talk about putting your nose on the ball, that's all that he knows with his size.
Well, no less an authority than Mike Krzyzewski said of Chris Likes, he's one of the better on-ball defenders in the ACC. He showed it right there. Amp Lawrence with another triple, his third three of the night. And Anthony Lawrence has 10 points.
Miami is good up the middle, if you will, like a battery in baseball. Their point guard to their center. And Amp Lawrence is the difference for them in terms of energy and effort and experience. And he does not mind playing 35 minutes a game.
Here's Johnson, another three for the Canes. And we've got another offensive foul on NC State. That one's going to go on Braxton Beverly.
What a nightmare Chris Likes has been in the first half for NC State's guards, bringing the ball up the floor. They can't initiate. First of all, Miami's not turning it over, so NC State's not getting in their transition game. They're being forced to execute in the quarter court. And a back-to-back triples by Lawrence and Zach Johnson get Miami to a one-point game.
Those threes, a 6-0 run for Miami. Back to within one. Mack tried another three, but Azundu got the offensive rebound. Here's Lawrence, top of the key, no good. Azundu is second back-to-back offensive rebound.
Really good hustle by Miami on the glass. Again, long threes, long rebounds.
Johnson tried to turn the corner, and it's another foul on NC State. They're going to wave off the basket, and Zach Johnson will go to the line. 3:55 to go, and as we go to break, we tell you just like Mars Blackman used to tell Michael Jordan, it's got to be the shoes, Deb. Back in Miami, where the Hurricanes trail 18th ranked NC State 35-34. Debbie, Kevin Keats for NC State, Jim Larinaga for Miami. Both like to pamper the puppies, shall we say. There's Kevin Keats' shoes that he wore at one NC State game. That is Wolf Gucci. And then in practices, Jim Larinaga says, can you top this? Some Adidas kicks that were hand-painted for him by a big fan. And he wears those just about every practice, but Kevin Keats says he busts out those shoes just once in a while because he doesn't want to lose a game wearing those Wolfpack shoes and say, I can't wear those anymore.
Yeah, Wolfpack Nation went nuts over those shoes is what Coach Keats told us today. Everybody wanted to know where you could find them.
Yeah, they became an Instagram sensation in this day and age.
Well, there is a readout planned for their next game, which is at home against the University of North Carolina. I wonder if he'll break them out for that.
Scramble for the loose ball. And it's going to be Miami basketball with the possession arrow. 3:36 to go, and the Hurricanes have a chance to take the lead. They end up calling the foul on DJ Funderburk, so instead, Miami's going to go to the line with a chance to get the lead. And that foul on Funderburk is going to be his third of the night.
DJ Funderburk has impacted the stat sheet in every category tonight.
And Johnson hits the front end. Well, Zion Williamson and the #1 ranked Blue Devils are going to take on Clemson at Cameron Indoor, as we mentioned earlier. It's the start of conference play for both, with the Tigers' last win in Durham coming 24 years ago. That'll be Saturday night at 8 Eastern on ESPN. And that also features 3 of the top 4 scorers in the ACC. Zion Williamson, R.J. Barrett, and Marquise Reed from Clemson. Here's another top scorer in the ACC, Chris Likes, with the bucket at the other end.
He picks the pocket of Braxton Beverly. He has impacted the game on the defensive end, that's for sure.
Miami up by 2. Likes has 9 on the night. And Dorn had it blocked by Azundu. Azundu for 2.
NC State needs to move the ball. They're dribbling too much. They need to reverse the sides of the floor and flip the court a little bit. Get into Miami into some defensive rotation.
Miami in the midst of an 11-0 run that's given them a 4-point lead with 2:41 to go, Deb.
Watch the hustle by Miami up the floor. They are getting whatever they want from their offense. NC State's defense has not dictated. They have not turned Miami over. And then on the other end, NC State is actually allowing Miami to control the tempo. They're not taking good shots. They're not reversing the basketball. Those would be a couple of things that I'm sure Kevin Keatts would like to clean up.
A back-and-forth contest in the ACC opener for the 18th-ranked Wolfpack and the Miami Hurricanes. There's good D and good hands by Torin Dorn getting the turnover.
Drag, you get the switch. Now you
Helms
got a
wants it.
post-up, absolutely.
Off the mark, Wyatt Walker with the putback.
Good recognition by NC State that they had a mismatch with Likes down in the post, trying to defend Jericho Helms.
Miami has handled the Wolfpack pressure adroitly so far in the first half. And there's Zach Johnson with another easy two.
If you don't step up on that hedge, Miami's playing downhill. That's the screener's defense. That's Wyatt Walker's got to step up on that.
Here's Helms in the corner. Had one of those earlier, missed that one. And here's Johnson on the leak out, 2-on-1. Likes with another easy two off the window. And Doug Shows whistles Braxton Beverly for the over and back. Another NC State turnover. That's 7 Wolfpack turnovers. They're used to doing the turning over. Tonight, they're getting a taste of their own medicine from a hungry Miami Hurricanes club. Much to the chagrin of Kevin Keatts, as you saw a moment ago. 1:11 to go, 43-37. Miami with the 6-point lead and the basketball in the midst of a 15-2 run. .101 to go. In the first 13 games of the season, NC State has never trailed at the half, but that is squarely what they're looking at now. The foul that time goes on Jericho Helms, and that'll send Anthony Lawrence to the line. He's already in double digits with 10, and he'll have 2 shots here. Anthony Lawrence coming in, 6th in the conference in minutes played at 34 a game. He misses the first of 2 free throws. And he is one of the ultimate glue guys on this Miami team, asking a lot more of him this year with their diminished roster. Lawrence misses them both. And we have under a minute to go. Foul on the floor, that's going to go on Lawrence. Check that, it's going to go on Zach Johnson, his first, and the team's 5th. Deb, Miami doing a good job not only of defense, but also of not fouling on defense. That's something they have to be very mindful of with only 7 players in their rotation. That ball goes out of the hands of Daniels, out of bounds. Another turnover, the 9th for the NC State Wolfpack.
You know what, Rich? I bet we've seen NC State have 1 or 2 possessions where they've made more than 2 passes. They've done a lot off the bounce, just trying to get in the gaps. I think they've got to move the ball so they can get Miami to rotate.
Likes again.
And they got to keep Chris Likes in front. He's been terrific off the bounce. What a great first half for the 5'7" point guard for Miami.
And a use it or lose it timeout by Kevin Keats. His team is down 8, 45-37. Chris Likes getting to the tin at will, Deb. Likes just blowing by the entire NC State defense. He leads all scorers with 13, but as usual, it's been a balanced Miami scoring column. 10 points for Zach Johnson, 10 for Anthony Lawrence as well. And Chris Likes only has 1 turnover in this contest also. That was one of the things that Jim Larinaga wanted him to clean up coming into this game. He had 45 assists and 43 turnovers. You need a little bit more separation in those numbers when you're dealing with a point guard.
Well, Miami only averages 12 turnovers, and he's responsible for a fourth of those. So he has done a really good job of not only not turning it over, but creating some opportunities with his defense.
Shot clock is off for the Wolfpack. They'll hold for the last shot of the half. They have never trailed at half in their first 13 games of the year. But a 17-2 Miami run has staked the Canes to a 45-37 lead. Last shot time. Good fake by Beverly, but he's short on the 3. Well, our score at halftime, Miami 45, NC State 37. Let's go to Deb with Kevin Keats.
Coach, Miami finishes the half on a 17-2 run. What would you like to change about anything offensively or defensively right now?
Well, I thought they beat us to every loose ball. Thought they got 50-50 balls. A team that we usually defended three-point line pretty well, gave up too many three-point plays and too many second opportunities.
What can you do to get an offensive rhythm?
Well, I think we just got to play and relax. We gotta share the basketball. You know, when things are tight, everybody's trying to do it by themselves.
Thank you, Coach.
NC State and Kevin Keats trailing for the first time at halftime this season. Our halftime score from the Watsco Center, Miami 45, NC State 37. We'll be back with our halftime report right after this. For the NC State Wolfpack and the Miami Hurricanes, with the Canes at home, a 45-37 lead as we get set for the second half of play. Alongside Debbie Antonelli, I'm Rich Hollenberg. Chris Likes is the smallest player on the floor, but he's been the best player on the floor tonight so far.
Well, there's no question about it. He's impacted the game on both ends. He's got 13 points. He's drawn 4 fouls on the NC State offense. He's done a terrific job of moving his feet, playing underneath guys, utilizing his own skill set and his determination with his 5'7" frame. And on the other end, to balance what he's been able to do on the defensive end has been the shooting of Anthony Lawrence. He's got 3 triples in the first half out of the 5 threes that Miami has, and Miami has shot the ball really well in the first half as well. This has been all their game.
The Canes coming in is the only team in Division I basketball who has 5 players averaging 12 or more. They're on their way to that type of average tonight. Likes with 13, Lawrence with 10, Zach Johnson has 10. And it's an 8-point cushion for the Canes as they start the second half.
I think NC State settled for threes and perimeter jump shots, and this is what they need to do. Go inside and attack in the paint.
Wyatt Walker opens the second half with the first 2 points.
Okay.
He has 6.
Rich, right out of the half, Wyatt Walker sprints to screen, rolls hard to the rim, re-screens, posts up, gets an easy 2 with 2 feet in the paint. That's the kind of execution that Kevin Keats' team has played with this season. Oh!
7 to shoot. Likes. Can't pick up where he left off in the first half. An empty possession for Miami. Here comes NC State.
The balance of Chris Likes' game, his ability to shoot the 3 and to go by you, is really challenging for NC State's defense right now.
An open look for Devin Daniels, and he matches Likes for game-high scoring. 13 for Daniels. And it's back to a 3-point game.
I'm almost thinking that Chris Likes is in the untrappable, unflappable position of point guards. I like to categorize. Either you're the 3 W's, the who, you know who you get the ball to, when and where, or you're untrappable and flappable, and that's the way Chris Likes looks right now. Nothing's bothering him.
Azundu, maybe an ill-advised shot. Here's CJ Bryce in transition, 8 for Bryce, and we're back to a 1-point game.
So NC State 3 for 3 out of the half, and they're able to set their D, and they're playing with better energy.
Here's Amp Lawrence. And Lawrence has a dozen.
Looks like Lawrence maybe caught a little cramp.
Yeah,
back
coming
up
a little bit lame. Jim Larinaga said they've had some trouble with that. Only 7 players for Jim Larinaga tonight. And it's a jump ball. As we check our first half numbers, what jumps out at you most, Evan?
Well, 37% for NC State. They shoot 53% from the floor on the season, which is 3rd in the nation. Miami has done a terrific job of scoring and then setting their defense, forcing NC State to have to play in the quarter court offensively. This has been Miami's tempo, as you see Lawrence go back behind the bench to stretch out.
And Chris Likes has been a bowling ball down the floor. You cannot stop him. At least NC State hasn't been able to so far. 15 for Likes. And Azundu got one in the head, but it's out of bounds. It'll stay NC State ball.
Hey, watch this right here. This is going to be Chris Likes. How many dribbles does it take to get him to the rim? Or excuse me, that's Anthony Lawrence. This is when he comes up with the cramp.
You can see it right there. 30-plus minutes a game for Amp Lawrence, and as he heads into ACC play, you know that number's not coming down. Conditioning will be a key for both of these teams.
Yeah, CJ Bryce right there, that's a smart play. Because he does a good job in the ball screening action of getting DJ Vasiljevic on his hip and drawing the foul.
Two-possession ball game. Here's Markel Johnson, 11 in black. Nice feed to Wyatt Walker, and again, NC State going inside.
See, and that's Wyatt Walker. He's going to roll hard to the rim every time, but because Devin Daniel lifts on the strong side, it takes away the help on the roller. Very well designed play by NC State. I'd keep going to that and make Miami guard it.
Here's Likes, tried to thread the needle to Wardenberg. And we're going to have a foul on Wyatt Walker inside.
Watch this feed right here. Here's the screen, and then watch Wyatt Walker. Rolls hard to the rim. Nobody on the weak side to help because Devin Daniel had moved up the lane and had lifted on the strong side. That took his help defense with him. That's why coaches are always saying you can't stand. You got to keep moving. You have to keep the weak side busy so they can't help on that roll. It opens up the lane.
Pretty heads-up feed by Markel Johnson, who only has 3 points tonight, but is certainly impacting the game with assists like that. 10 on the shot clock for the Canes. And a late whistle by Ted Valentine, and the foul is going to go on NC State, so Zach Johnson will go to the line and shoot free throws. And if there's been one weak spot in this game offensively for Jim Larinaga's Hurricanes, it's been at the free throw strike.
Yeah, they're not a great free throw shooting team, and they haven't been good tonight. I got him at 6 for 13 in the first half.
Well, making it even 50% now, 7 for 14 for Coach L's club. Johnson with 11. A Miami native with one more year of eligibility, came over to play with the Canes, and he's made both of his free throw attempts in the second half. And 3 for 3 for Johnson, give him 13 for the game, and the lead is now 2 possessions for the Canes.
Ball moving much better for NC State. Better shot selection, better ball movement. More uncontested shots here in the second half.
Markel Johnson had a pretty dime the last trip down, then he calls his own number and dials up a three. Likes, top of the key for three.
Boy, I'm telling you what, isn't Chris Likes fun to watch? He is really good.
He's got a tattoo on his chest that says heart over height. You could see that tonight. Markel Johnson answers with another three.
He's got a great motor. Nothing seems to bother him. I think Miami has played very comfortably all game, and that's not the way NC State's defense is designed. They're designed to be disruptive and to create havoc.
Off balance shot by Johnson off the mark.
Like that right there. Like that's not a good shot for Jim Larinaga's team.
And we've got a blocking foul on Wardenberg.
NC State playing much better on the offensive end because you got to counter what Chris Likes can do. He reads, he probes. If you don't stick a hand in his face, three.
Well, Deb, I know you're excited about this. I am too. ESPN and the ACC bringing you the ACC Network in August. 15 universities, one network. Visit getaccn.com to learn more. And as of right now, in the top 20, the ACC featuring 6 teams. Duke #1, Virginia #4. Florida State is a sleeper team in as much as I don't think anyone in the country realizes just how good, deep, and athletic Leonard Hamilton's club is.
You know what? I mean, Duke is clearly, along with Virginia, there's a little separation there, I think. However, I will say that based on schedule and the unbalanced nature of the league, any of those teams can win the ACC this year.
Some terrific guard play from all the teams you see on the left side of your screen. Virginia Tech with some of the top scorers from the guard position, but we're seeing some great guard play tonight in this building.
Well, I watched Buzz Williams' team beat Notre Dame at home, and they only have one loss, Virginia Tech. That was at Penn State, as Zach Johnson drills a triple off the timeout. But I'm telling you, Virginia Tech is very, very talented, and they are as connected a group as I've seen on the floor. I think Buzz Williams' team does a terrific job of understanding their roles and playing at a very high level, every possession.
Seminoles ranked 9th, Hokies are 10th right now. There's an NC State turnover, and Johnson at the other end. Great balance and body control by Zach Johnson as he'll go to the line and try to add to his game-high 16 points. Check that. He's trailing Chris Likes. Likes has 18,
so
and Johnson with 16.
I'm sorry, Rich. If you're about energy and effort, and you're Kevin Keats right now, you're saying, we come off the timeout, we give up the corner three, we turn the ball over, we come down, and now Zach Johnson's at the free throw line. NC State has fouled the jump shooter a lot tonight. And they turn the ball over and they can't recover.
Kevin Keats in his 5th season overall as a head coach, 2nd in Raleigh. He was 3 years at NC Wilmington, and they went to back-to-back NCAA tournaments. When he came over to NC State, brought a couple of guys with him, C.J. Bryce being one of them. And he has made a lot of hay in a short amount of time, especially when you consider, Deb, he has 7 transfers on his team and only 3 players who returned from last year.
Well, I think the chemistry with which he's built his team is all about competitiveness, right? I mean, you got 10 guys, they all can play. There's not a big separator. As NC State turns it over again.
Kevin Keats hasn't seen this kind of performance from his team this season. Even in their one loss, that loss came on the road in the ACC Big Ten Challenge at Wisconsin. And he said they learned a lot from that win. They were close to being undefeated, just a few possessions away from being undefeated. This might be their toughest performance so far this year.
No question. Miami is getting whatever they want, and NC State back-to-back turnovers. Coming into tonight, in the last 4 games, they've been averaging about 19 turnovers a game. So they have not been taking very good care of the basketball.
Coming up on 6 minutes gone by in the second half, it's been mostly a Miami type of a flow. There's one and done for NC State.
And until that last time out, they were 6 for 6 to start the half.
Here's Likes. And he'll go to the line and shoot 2.
He is downhill. He is a blur. He's fast. He can go wherever he wants with the basketball. He's not a high flyer, although he did tell us today that he can dunk. He controls the ground, and he understands what Jim Larranaga wants.
He leads this team in scoring, 16.6 a game. He already has 18 tonight.
So in Division I, Power 5 schools, there's only 2 guys under 6 feet tall that lead their teams in scoring. Chris Likes from Miami is one. Marcus Howard at Marquette is the other.
Talk about a volume scorer.
Have you seen that guy play? He is terrific. He had 2 45-point games in December for Marquette.
One of them against Buffalo, who was undefeated going into that game. He had 40 in the second half.
I mean,
in that game.
It's all about offense.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you, Rich. It's exciting to watch players like that can really fill it up.
Well, Chris likes hearing that too. He's got 20. That's his high in his ACC career as a sophomore.
Nice.
Beverly goes off the window, but only 5 points for Braxton Beverly. 63-56, Miami with the lead. Likes almost got the assist there, but the shot from Mack was off the mark.
Oh, that was a foul in the open court by Likes.
And they count the bucket for Torin Dorn.
See, Likes tried to foul him out front, and he did foul him, but he didn't get called for the foul. That's what Likes is trying to explain to the official right now. Watch right here. He reaches right here. He grabs Torin Dorn. Now the foul's going to be on Mack. It works out better for NC State. Well, if the foul's on Mack, it works out better for NC State. It's an and one opportunity. That's what Chris Likes was trying to say. I tried to foul him before he got to the rim.
Dorn can't complete the three-point play. He has 4. And NC State, who has struggled mightily tonight against Miami on the road, still within 5. The 18th ranked Wolfpack at 12-1 coming into ACC play. Oh, and look out, DJ Funderburk with his 4th foul of the night as Izundu will go to the line.
Watch this foul right here. This is a play on the ball. I think the officials want to go take a look at it, but I think this is a play on the basketball.
And Ebuka Izundu, who went for the dunk on that foul by Funderburk, is getting his hand taped up for his efforts.
It's a great pass. I think it's just a basketball play on the ball. Now, are they going to look at whether Izundu threw the elbow at Funderburk? Because I don't think it's Funderburk that they're taking a look at.
Yeah, that's 2 big guys going at it with an emphatic dunk attempt and a hard foul.
Now, I wonder if Izundu hurt his finger on the net. It looked like he got his hand caught, his left hand, and he is a left-handed shooter. I think they found nothing. They're just going to go with
common foul, 2 shots
I think that's
for
right.
Ebuka Izundu.
I think that's right.
Izundu coming in, a 70% free throw shooter. This will be his first trips to the free throw line tonight.
So Kevin Keats was trying to substitute Wyatt Walker in for Funderburk. And the officials they're not letting that exchange happen yet. Funderburk is still on the floor with 4 fouls. He's going to shoot the free throw first.
6'10" senior out of Charlotte, Ebuka Izundu. The left-hander now has 9 points. And Walker checks in. As Funderburk will go to the end of the bench for NC State with 4 fouls. Izundu 1 for 2.
Izundu doing a really good job of showing on that hedge.
Great fake by Beverly, clears him for another 3. That's the second 3 of the night for Braxton Beverly. He has 8, and we've got a 3-point game.
You think the NC State's depth has a wear-down effect. That's what you hope if you're Kevin Keats.
Ten on the shot clock for the Canes. Mack shot fake with 5 to shoot. Wardenberg does. And it's off the mark, but a fresh 30 gives Mack another look, and he knocks that one down.
I love the way Miami strikes quickly on their offensive rebounding.
Here's Walker trying to get a foul on Azundu, and instead it's an offensive foul on Wyatt Walker. Ibuka Azundu staying out of foul trouble and getting NC State in some trouble. Miami with a 6-point lead over NC State in their ACC openers, and before the game, just hours before tip, word coming down that earlier today the NCAA denied Dewan Hernandez's appeal for eligibility. According to Hernandez's attorney, Jason Setchum, UM had been withholding Hernandez from games pending an eligibility review after he was named in court documents in the federal corruption case related to college basketball. So Dewan Hernandez, in all essence, is done playing for Miami. The big man was the top returning scorer and rebounder for Jim Laranaga's club. But the man you just saw take that offensive foul, Deb, Ibuka Azundu, has really done yeoman work as essentially the only big man for Miami.
I mean, he had 160 points coming into the season from last year. He's at 155 this year right now. I mean, he has done a terrific job. He's got 6 offensive rebounds. He only averages 3, and he leads the ACC in field goal percentage. He's done a terrific job of staying out of foul trouble tonight as well.
Yeah, has 4 double-doubles coming into this game. Only Mooney from Notre Dame and Zion Williamson from Duke have more double-doubles in the ACC.
He's long, he's active, he's learning how to play without getting in foul trouble. He averages just under 3 personal fouls a game. Tonight he has 1. That means as the game wears on, he can get more aggressive in their ball screen defense on the way he hedges. He also can get more aggressive at protecting the rim as the game wears on with only 1 personal foul.
Yeah, what started out as a little bit of a incentivizer for Jim Larinaga has turned into something they really buy into. In practice, if Ibuka Azundu fouls in practice, he has to do 5 push-ups. Coach L said to us earlier today, I start wondering to myself, maybe I should make it 10 or 15 push-ups. There's another rebound for Azundu.
It's a great block, too. He leads the team in blocks with 2 a game.
One of 8 players in Division I ball averaging more than 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. Another one of those players, Bol for Oregon, we just found out he's out for the season with a foot injury. There's DJ Vasiljevic, and that's his first 3 of the night, and now Vasiljevic has the active current longest streak, 26 games with at least 1 3 for DJ Vasiljevic. The lead is up to 8 for Miami. Loose ball, Wolfpack come away with it. It's out of bounds, great hustle by Zach Johnson. That's gonna stay NC State basketball. Well, we showed you the leading scorers for Miami. Here's who's leading the NC State Wolfpack. They're getting balanced scoring as well, just not enough right now.
Yeah, they started the half 6 for 6, then they came off the next time out, turned it over a couple times, and they seem to have lost that rhythm.
Devin Daniels leading the way with 15, but he's the only member of NC State in double digits so far.
Officials taking a look at the monitor again. This time, I believe it's a clock issue. Maybe it's the reset of the shot clock. I think NC State did have possession. There should have been a switch in the shot clock. So I think they're going to leave it at 29. That's right. Or they're going to put it at 27.
So the shot clock's at 27 with 10:47 to go. Miami led it 45-37 at the break. They're up by 6 or 8 right now, 70-62. Helms.
That's a tough jumper. You know, why don't you play through Wyatt Walker a little bit?
Vasiljevic. No shot, the foul's on the floor, but more aggressive play by the Miami Hurricanes.
I think when Kevin Keats takes a look at this film and he looks at his transition defense, it's been a lot of straight line drives. You know, that right there was Vasiljevic on a straight line to the rim. And Braxton was backpedaling, so Vasiljevic goes right into his chest. That's a foul.
Well, this is something that is not new to the Hurricane faithful coming into this game. Miami as a team had 167 free throws made. Their opponents had only attempted 153. Vasilovic gets the free throw. Vasilovic goes 1 for 2. Just his second miss from the free throw line this season. Daniels.
Really good take in transition. Sideline break up the side of the floor. You set your defense. See if you can keep Miami in front. Miami hasn't really gotten below 10 seconds on the shot clock very often tonight.
They have handled the Wolfpack pressure beautifully tonight.
That was a set we have not seen out of Jim Larrañaga. They go 1-4 low, and then they play out of that.
5 on the shot clock. Likes for 3.
Miami just gets whatever they want in their quarter court.
A new career high for Chris Likes. He has 23, and the Canes are up by 10.
Impressive coming off that 21-point performance against Campbell to put 23 on NC State's defense.
Beverly answers with a 3 of his own from the corner. And we have a timeout on the floor with 9:25 to go and the Canes up 7.
Chris Likes plays the game on balance. He controls the ground. Watch this penetration, the kick, then the relocate to the perimeter, and then he sticks the triple. Miami up 7.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Well, Sebastian loves what he's seeing right now, especially from starting point guard Chris Likes. 8 for 11 from the field, including 3 for 3 from beyond the arc, and he has himself a career-high 23 points.
He has not led the team in scoring the last 6 games, but this is what you need when you come to ACC play. You need your best player to have a big night, and Chris Likes, with a career-high 23, has not missed from the free throw line, has not missed outside the arc tonight.
Here's Likes with the ball.
And he has 1 turnover, Rich. He averages 3.6 turnovers a game.
Drive, dish, Vasilovic with 5 on the shot clock, out to Mack. Azundu got his 10th rebound and gets fouled for his efforts.
That's his 7th offensive rebound. What an impressive job around the glass.
And Miami in the bonus means Azundu will go to the line, and he knocks down one of these 2 free throws. And you're looking at his 5th double-double on the season for Ibuka Azundu. And he's off the mark. So the double-double will have to wait.
Look how quickly he went from role player to factor in Miami's success this season.
Here's Torin Dorn, who's been quiet tonight. In and out. Leading scorer for this Wolfpack team only has 4 points tonight. Johnson alone for 3. Too strong. The other Johnson, Markell, with the rebound. Here's Dorn in the open court. And 1 for Torin Dorn.
What a great job of getting up the floor ahead of the basketball. Watch Braxton Beverly runs the lane after they secure the rebound. It's an advanced pass and then a great fill in the middle by Torin Dorn with an and 1 opportunity.
So Dorn at the line with 6 points, make it 7. And that allows NC State to set up its full court pressure.
Back to a 2-possession game, Rich. NC State with 13 turnovers in the game. Miami with just 5. We expected those numbers to be opposite. But it has felt all game like the floor is tilted, like right here, downhill to the rim, Zach Johnson. That's back-to-back stops by the Wolfpack. Let's see if they can convert.
Trying to build on a 6-0 run and get back in this contest.
This is where you got to pass the ball.
Johnson tried to lob it up to Funderburk, who's playing with 4 fouls. 10 on the shot clock for the Pack. Now 5 to shoot. Johnson does and nails a three-pointer and wanted a foul but didn't get one.
What a big play by Markel Johnson.
12 points for Johnson, all from beyond the arc. It's a 1-point game.
And this is the point in the games with Miami, who plays 7, and NC State, who plays 10. Does the wear-down factor become an issue for Miami?
Lights lost it.
That's 3 stops in a row.
Here's the lob. Dorn can't finish it. It goes out of bounds, and it's going to be Miami basketball. But we have got a whale of a ball game.
If you're going to play point guard for Kevin Keats, you better have an awareness of time and score. Late in the shot clock, Markel Johnson for 3.
UFC fans, this is the moment you truly all been waiting for.
Well, with all due respect to the Octagon and the UFC, Debbie Antonelli, we've got 94 feet of a heavyweight battle in the ACC opener between the NC State Wolfpack, ranked 18th coming in, and the Miami Hurricanes. Chris Likes leading all scorers with a career-high 23, but a balanced scoring effort from Kevin Keats' Wolfpack as they look to stay in this game. It's a 1-point contest with 7 minutes to go.
Well, and Devin Daniels' last 5 games coming into tonight was just about 13 points a game, shooting 51% from the floor. He's got 17 to lead NC State.
Good news for the Hurricanes. Number 3 in white, Anthony Lawrence, is back after leaving the game early in the second half. Here's Vasiljevic for 3. Short, contested by the Pack. And they could take their first lead since 35-34 in the first half. And they do, courtesy of Devin Daniels, who has a team-high 19 now.
Timeout, Jim Larinaga. That's 4 consecutive stops. 4 out of 5 consecutive stops for NC State defensively, and that allows them to get into their transition game. See, remember when we talked about around the 7-minute mark about fatigue potentially playing a factor for Miami? They didn't get back on defense that possession.
Daniels, his season high is 21. He has 19 now. Miami with 2 timeouts remaining. Same thing for the 18th ranked Wolfpack. 6:34 to go.
I think it's a good timeout by Coach Larinaga to get his team organized, to make sure they understand it's a good time to use it. Remember, he's got to consider fatigue. You know the next media timeout is coming in a couple of minutes.
It's been nearly 20 minutes of game time since NC State has had a lead. They are up by 1 with 6.5 to go in the ACC opener. Johnson drives, got blocked by the rim, and the Wolfpack come away with it. Johnson tried for his 4th 3 of the night, didn't get it. Here's Likes.
Really good job by Funderburk. Hedges on the ball screen, right to the rim to rebound.
Inside, Funderburk. Tries the baseline, Jay, and got it. DJ Funderburk with his first points of the second half, and that extends the Wolfpack lead to 77-74.
I think he has been terrific off the bench tonight for NC State. NC State switching on their man-to-man defense.
10 to shoot for the Canes. Pocket pass, Azundu. And the foul's going to go on the Wolfpack, and Ibuka Zundu will go back to the line to shoot 2.
It was Braxton Beverly in legal guarding position, rotating over from the weak side.
That's the 6'10" Ibuka Zundu going into the paint against the 6', 180-pound Braxton Beverly.
Well, Beverly made the right rotation and the right read, but I'm wondering if he was there in time.
Take another look.
Watch from the weak side. There's a strong roll to the rim.
Looked like he was still moving a little bit. So Beverly whistled with the foul, and Ibuka Zundu will step to the line, a 70% free throw shooter. He missed 2 of 3 so far tonight.
I feel like Torin Doran for NC State needs to be a little more assertive. He's been their leading scorer and rebounder. He's had a quiet contribution tonight.
Zundu now has his 5th double-double of the season, 10 points, to go along with those 11 rebounds. Short on the second free throw.
And Doran Rich to that point has 7 points and 6 boards.
5 minutes to go. Deep 3 by Beverly. Too strong, and Matt troughs it down.
The last 2 possessions have been 1 pass and a shot, and NC State was doing a really good job of moving the ball.
Wolfpack coming in ranked 18th in the nation and 12-1 on the season. A win here tonight not only will start their ACC playoff with a road win, but it will also mark their best start in program history since they won a national championship in 1974. And now DJ Funderburk has fouled out with 8 points.
That is the 6th foul that Chris Likes has drawn on NC State's defense.
Well, SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt tonight after Pac-12 college hoops. Reactions from Oracle Arena with the Beard looking to make it 5 straight games with 40 or more points. Plus more on Lamar Jackson's unique rookie season. And SVP opens the vault for the 1988 Eagles-Bears Fog Bowl at Soldier Field. Hard to believe that was 30 years ago. That's SportsCenter with SVP after Stanford UCLA on ESPN. Well, Miami will be shooting 2 free throws on every subsequent NC State foul. They're in the double bonus. So Chris Likes at the line looking to add to his career high 23. Can't do it on the first one.
Miami with a little bit of pressure.
A 1-point NC State lead with the basketball coming up on 4.5 minutes to go. Johnson gets by the Miami defense with a bucket. His first 2-point bucket of the night, 14 for Johnson.
Straight line drive.
Likes. An open look, Vasiljevic.
Short.
Maybe that has something to do with some tired legs. Johnson with the hesitation move. Here's Beverly for 3. An offensive rebound, and that's been something that NC State has done very well tonight. That has helped them to a 3-point lead on the road in the ACC opener. Well, it's a tough one at the Watsco Center in Miami as the Hurricanes are down by 3 to 18th ranked NC State, 79-76, 3:46 to go, but it was about 4 minutes ago, Deb, that you remarked on how the depth of Miami might be hurting them at this point in the game.
Yeah, you know, you're playing at a high level, your legs start to get tired, you only have 7 players, you try to rotate them the best you can, and Jim Larrañaga has done a very good job of subbing, using his timeouts, trying to manage the game that way. However, you have 7 players, and you know, NC State's depth is a part of their DNA, and they have done a very good job of getting the stops. They've done a better job of contesting, and Miami has missed their last 7 shots, and 5 of them have hit the front of the rim.
Yeah, it's been over 6 minutes since Miami's got a field goal. And Markel Johnson trying to take things over in the closing moments. 16 for Johnson.
So this is a point in the game that not only depth and tired legs, and Jim Larrañaga is going to use a timeout right here, but you're looking for game slippage things. Like, this is what you prepare for these moments. You try to condition and prep your team to execute, and Jim Larrañaga's had to call 2 timeouts, I think, for fatigue reasons.
Well, both of these, Debbie, both teams have shot extraordinarily well, but NC State, especially in the second half, has come on strong from 3.
Well, NC State needed to find some rhythm on the offensive end. In the first half, they made 5 triples. Here in the second, they've made 6. And Braxton Beverly has done a better job of locating off the Markel Johnson penetration. And Funderburk even hit a 3 before he fouled out of the game.
Johnson has 16, Devin Daniels with 19. Wyatt Walker's chipped in with 9. Braxton Beverly has 11. And even Torin Dorn, who has had a relatively quiet night, has 7 so far. So you talk about depth. Not only is it depth of minutes played, but it's depth of production, and they're getting at it tonight. That's one of the reasons that NC State is ranked 18th in the country, coming in with a 12-1 mark.
And you can just see NC State's energy has picked up here, and they kind of sense that on the road this would be huge if they could pull this off.
Yeah, most coaches say a win on the road is almost like a win and a half in conference play, and they're going to need it because they're starting off the season with 4 of 6 on the road in ACC play. Their home game will be next Tuesday against North Carolina, another top 20 team, but they're spending a lot of time in ACC play traveling away from Raleigh. They'll play at Wake Forest, they'll play at Notre Dame, and at Louisville in 3 consecutive games later this month.
This is where you want to have a little clock management about the way you play, and you've got to keep moving the ball and stay aggressive if you're NC State.
This game's been close throughout. Right now, NC State with a 5-point lead. Beverly can't add to it. And a big offensive rebound by Daniels, but he's called for the traveling violation.
NC State has missed 36 shots tonight, and they've offensive rebounded 17 of them. That's a very good offensive rebounding percentage, considering they did not turn Miami over. They were able to generate possessions on the offensive glass, not from their defense.
Sometimes, especially when you're on the road in conference play, you have to win ugly. NC State has an offense that 6 times this season has scored over 90 points. They won't come close to that, 81 right now. But finding a way to win.
They're switching on their defense here too, doing a better job in that ball screen defense by switching.
5 on the shot clock for Miami. Shot fake, Johnson, off the window, no, but he follows his own miss with a bucket.
What a play. And you look at Jim Larrañaga, he is asking his team to really dig in right here.
And an NC State turnover. Zach Johnson has 21, and this is the kind of effort that Jim Larrañaga is looking for.
And this is a fantastic play right here. A little ball fake, doesn't get the call, but follows his own miss, and offensive rebounds the putback.
Here's Likes. Too strong. 1:40 to go. 3-point game. NC State with the lead and the ball, and now Chris Likes is grabbing his right calf with maybe some cramping issues. Dorn off on the three, another offensive rebound for the Pack.
Really good job by Wyatt Walker. That's 8 offensive rebounds for Walker.
And NC State calls a timeout as Chris Likes, the game-high scorer with 24, hobbles to the bench with some cramping issues.
Look at the second half shooting by Miami. You got to give some of that to NC State's defense. However, it's a one-possession game.
So if you're Jim Larinaga and your team is down 3 with $1:16 left on your home floor, what are you trying to do to get back in this game and overtake NC State?
Well, you have to get a good look. You got to move the basketball. And nobody has been able to keep Chris Likes in front. Assuming that he's not cramped up and he can go, you might look for an isolation for him. Although NC State has been switching in their man-to-man defense.
And if you're NC State and Kevin Keatts, what are you going to try to do to maintain this lead with 1:16 left?
Well, you got to play good defense here, and you can't foul. You've got to get the rebound. That's what you're thinking if you're NC State. And right here, you want to use a little clock. You want to stay aggressive. If you can get a chance to take Chris Likes to the bucket, you take him to the basket right now.
He's still trying to stretch out that right calf. NC State has the ball. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Now 10 to shoot.
Isolating this matchup right here.
Here's Daniels, almost lost it. He did lose it. Matt comes away with it for Miami.
You don't need a 3 here. You need a quick 2 if you can get it. You take something going to the basket.
Johnson almost lost it. Now he gets to the hole, and it's blocked by Daniels from behind.
Well, Daniels makes up for the last play. I think you got a foul.
And they do. A 3-second differential in the shot clock and the game clock. Devin Daniels, who lost control on the offensive end, terrific defense on the defensive.
How about moving on to the next play? Daniels turns it over, as you said, and then on the switch, good recovery, pins it off the backboard.
And here's Markel Johnson, his first trip to the foul line tonight, and he knocks it down.
And he makes it a 2-possession game. So now NC State wants to make sure you keep Miami in front. And I thought Chris Likes was going to the bench. I was going to say, wait a second.
Clutch free throws from Markel Johnson, who has 18 points.
You can drive it right here, Rich. You don't need to settle for the 3.
That's a quick 3. Johnson off the mark.
Now you got a foul.
And Likes fouls Markel Johnson again.
I don't think you needed to take that long triple if you were Zach Johnson. And that's part of the fatigue, the mental toughness of it, right? I mean, you definitely could see as the court was tilted Miami's direction until about the 7-minute mark when NC State got 3 stops in a row and it was able to score. That's when I think the game changed.
Markel Johnson, another free throw. He's 3 for 3 from the line in crunch time.
Markel Johnson, Rich, Braxton Beverly making shots in the second half.
And now Johnson gets to the 20-point plateau. Here's Likes, little stop and go and an easy 2 for Likes. So Chris Likes has 26, but is it too little, too late? 15.8 to go. Miami is now out of timeouts and finds themselves down 5 against the 18th ranked Wolfpack of NC State. Well, more ACC basketball coming up this weekend. Zion Williamson and the #1 ranked Blue Devils taking on Clemson at Cameron Indoor in Durham. It's the start of conference play for both clubs, with the Tigers' last win coming in Cameron 24 years ago, almost to the day, back in 1995. That'll be 8 Eastern this Saturday on ESPN. Well, Zion Williamson, the 4th leading scorer in the ACC. His teammate RJ Barrett leading the ACC in scoring, and sandwiched in between those two, Marquise Reed from Clemson. third in the conference in scoring. It's been a long time since you've seen a Brad Brownell player at the top of the conference in scoring, but this is a kind of a different Clemson basketball club. They have the defensive ability, but they can score as well this year. That's why they were in the top 20 at the start of this season. And Reed was injured for a while. Now he's back. Another strong ACC club going into Cameron this year.
Clemson used to have to keep the game in the 60s to be able to win it. Now they have the ability to score, and Duke leads the ACC in scoring at 91.6 points a game. You've got to be able to score with Duke because it's really tough to defend all their offense.
Full court pressure from the Canes. Do you foul right away?
Yes, you do. You try to go for a steal, you foul. You're trying to extend the game here. NC State puts their best ball handlers in, their best free throw shooters.
And they can't get the foul right away. And a good job by the Wolfpack getting it over the half-court mark. Wardenberg fouls Bryce with 8.1 left. So that sends C.J. Bryce to the line.
NC State changing their ball screen defense as well, Rich, I thought was a factor in them switching.
And more clutch free throw shooting from Kevin Keats' NC State Wolfpack. That's 9 for Bryce. And this one will make it a 3-possession ball game with 8.1 to go. Bryce cans them both. NC State with a win here on the road marks their best start since they won an NCAA title back in 1974. It's 87-82, and that will be your final score. The Wolfpack improved to 13-1 on the season, their best start since 1973-74. Your final score, NC State 87, Miami 82. Coming up next, more hoops as Jacksonville State takes on Belmont. For Debbie Antonelli, I'm Rich Hollenberg. So long from Miami. We send you out to Nash Vegas.